Hey guys, welcome to the Massive Iron Channel. I'm Steve Shaw. In this video, we're going to talk about Myo-Reps and Bulldozer Rest Pause Training. I'm going to show you why rest pause training might be the greatest secret weapon for muscle building you're not currently doing. Before I get into this topic, if you guys would like a custom workout built on rest pause or implementing rest pause, please check out the link down below. My custom workout service is only $39. All right, so rest pause training is probably one of the most underrated muscle building tools on the planet. You don't hear it talked about a lot. Even though we have workout systems like DC training, which rely on it, you just don't see a lot of education or programs that implement it or even implement it properly. Now, way back around 2008, I started to mess with DC training, and I eventually developed my own system of training called Bulldozer Training, which we are going to explore in this video. I ran my Bulldozer system for a complete year, and I have to tell you, after about 2 to 3 weeks, my strength progression was consistent, but we're not just talking about strength here. It was probably the best year of my muscle building training in the last 25 years. The amount of soreness you get from rest pause training is pretty noticeable. It's really highly engaging training, meaning you get to get into the gym, and because of the limited rest, things go by really quickly. It's just super engaging. And because of the nature of rest pause training, workouts tend to go by a little bit more quickly. So you get in more work or a greater density of work in a shorter period of time. Now, way back around 2008, 2009, I started featuring Bulldozer Training, or my version of rest pause, on my old website, Muscle and Brawn, and I no longer own that, so don't bother checking it out. I have no idea who owns it. After that point, I was hired by Muscle and Strength, and I started to feature Bulldozer Training over at Muscle and Strength, eventually at Tiger Fitness, and you can probably find a billion videos on my YouTube channel that feature rest pause training or Bulldozer Training or Bulldozer Training techniques. Now, a lot of times when I mention Bulldozer Training, people will say, hey, that looks like Myo-Reps. People often assume Bulldozer Training is Myo-Reps, and in this video, we're going to unpack both systems, not just to educate you, but to open a few doors if you want to add rest pause training into your current muscle building protocol. All right, so let's take a brief look at Myo-Reps. They originated by Norwegian coach Børge Fagerli. Excuse me if I got the name wrong. Somewhere around the mid-2000s. It looks like they were first outlined around 2006. And then refined somewhere around 2008. You're going to see this is about the same time that Bulldozer Training was developed. Myo-Reps is a rest pause training method designed for time-efficient hypertrophy. And basically, myo equals muscle, so muscle reps. The early spread of Myo-Reps training was popularized through online forums back in the day like Lyle McDonald's forum. And it was even featured in magazines like Men's Health, and mentioned by Arnold Schwarzenegger in a newsletter as one of his favorites. Now, it was considered innovative at the time. It was marketed as a refinement of traditional rest pause, which was grounded in some emerging science. The link was to Matthias Wernborn's 2007 meta-review on strength and hypertrophy. Fagerli basically coined things as effective reps around 2006. The last hardest reps in a set drive the most growth. This is something that's talked about a lot, and this is why you should consider rest pause training. And we're going to dive into the concept of effective reps and why rest pause training in general, whether you use Myo-Reps or Bulldozer Training, brings up the overall rep quality. And finally, a quote, Myo-Reps is, simplistically speaking, a rest pause method. I didn't just reinvent the wheel, I refined it. All right, so my system, Bulldozer Training, I created somewhere around 2007, 2008. That's when the original articles started to appear on muscleandbrawn.com. They're no longer there. You can still find them in my book, Muscle and Brawn Archives, over at my website, superlivingtoday.com. As I mentioned earlier, I ran Bulldozer Training for a full year back around 2008. And again, I considered it one of the best muscle building phases of my entire life. Now, I came up with the term bulldozer because it was just like slow and steady. You just continue to hammer forward on your workouts, not using any substantial amount of rest. It was just like a complete powerhouse workout. And for some reason for me at the time, Bulldozer just seemed to fit. Now, when I created back in the day, it was kind of originally an amalgamation of DC training. I took the things about DC training I didn't really care for, and I added in a few more sets and modified it a little bit. Not that there's anything wrong with DC training. I just kind of evolved things based on my personal preferences and my personal experience. There were elements of max sim training that I tossed in, and of course, kind of that influence back then of Mentor's heavy duty, just a lot of intensity. That was kind of the original focus, just a lot of training intensity. Bulldozer training doesn't mimic Mike Mentor's training in any way, shape, or form, but the connection point was overall workout intensity. Now, I didn't develop mine based on any study or trying to refine anything based on a study. Bulldozer training for me was just getting into the gym and trying things, seeing what I liked, what I didn't like, and evolving it based on what you would call the art of training rather than the science of training. That's something that's very curious here, is that you have the convergence of art and science. What I was doing around the same time that Myo-Reps was developed. So in contrast with Myo-Reps, Bulldozer training was more grassroots, community forum-based, muscle and brawn, muscle and strength, and more experience-driven, or the art of training. And the coincidental timing, both Bulldozer and Myo-Reps appeared independently around the same time, mid to late 2000 period, in separate communities. And I can't stress this enough. A lot of people think that we pulled from each other in some way. He probably had no idea what I was doing at all, and probably still doesn't. And I had no idea what he was doing. We just kind of developed these systems independently around the same time. All right, so let's get into the nuts and bolts, how things work and how they are going to build muscle. So Myo-Reps have something called an activation set. You pick about 30 to 50% of your one rep max, and you adjust this based on preferences. I mean, obviously, you really don't want to do 30% of your one rep max. You start with about 12 to 30 reps on that first set. I really personally wouldn't go anything above 15, but you can adjust again based on preferences. You push this first activation set near failure. You stop when your speed slows or you have 1 to 2 reps in the tank. This fully recruits fast twitch fibers. Then from there, you do mini sets. You rest only 20 to 30 seconds or 3 to 6 deep breaths. Then crank out 3 to 5 more reps. Each of these reps is going to feel tougher because of the lingering fatigue from your original activation set. This is very similar to Bulldozer training, and we'll get into that in just a second. Now, the cycle, you keep repeating short rest and 3 to 5 reps until you can't get at least 3 reps. So you're basically going to be doing 2 to 3 mini sets after your first activation set, and you stop when you can't hit at least 3 reps. So notation might look something like this: 15 on your activation set, and then on your mini sets, 5, 4, 4, and 3. And then maybe on the last set, this individual hit 2 reps and game was over. So why it works: traditional sets only hit the big fibers on the last few reps. Myo-Reps compresses multiple last reps into one extended sequence. So basically, you're going to hit it hard during that activation set. Because you're taking it close to failure, the last few reps on that activation set are going to be highly impactful. And then because you're limiting rest after that during your mini sets, the quality of the reps during the mini sets is going to be elevated. So basically, you're adding in more last quality reps, or bringing up the overall rep quality. This is the same type of experience you're going to get with Bulldozer training. You end up doing about the same number of reps as a conventional 3-set sequence. So if you did 3 by 10 on bench press, if you did something like Bulldozer or Myo-Reps where you're doing 13, 5, 4, whatever, you're going to end up with about the same number of reps you would with straight sets, but the overall rep quality is going to be much greater. So the result: efficient hypertrophy, higher training density, and less downtime in between sets. Now, progression for Myo-Reps, if you're able to complete 5 reps in each of the back off clusters for a total of 5 rounds, stop the Myo-Rep set and note to bump up the weight the next time. This is just a general guideline. Feel free to adjust based on the exercises and how things are feeling for you with that rep range and structure. All right, let's get into my system, Bulldozer Training. You're going to find a lot of similarities. So instead of using 3x10 straight sets, you're going to do 5 to 7 mini sets. Generally, Bulldozer is 5, but we're going to get into the escalating Bulldozer, which is 7. So most of these are 5 mini sets or 5 total sets. You're going to have short fixed rest periods, usually 15 to 30 seconds. This is going to be adjusted based on how that specific exercise feels. So on bench press, you might feel you need a little bit more rest, like 30 seconds. And on things like cable tricep extensions, it might be as little as 15 seconds. Now, we are not training to failure. What I teach is to push every set and mini set for as many quality reps as possible, stopping that set when you feel like you might fail on the next rep or when your form starts to break down. So maximum safe quality reps. The notation, because you don't have an activation set, you're just going to have 5 straight mini sets. And you're going to see a drop in rep count, something like 10, 6, 4, 3, or 2. Now, the original method had a rep goal system, so you would add up the total number of reps for all 5 mini sets, and when you hit a rep goal, you would move up in weight. The modern system, I base that on the lead set or the top set or the first set. Basically, if you get to 12, 13, or 14, generally 13 or 14 reps on that top set, regardless of what the mini sets or back down sets are in terms of reps. When you get to 12, 13, or 14 on that top set, you are going to move that exercise up the next time you perform it by a minimum amount of weight. So if you fall short on that first set, you just continue using that weight the next time in the gym. Now, if you are looking at overall workout efficiency over the course of a week, generally you can get away with 2 or 3 exercises using Bulldozer Training. I would still stick with 3 to be conventional. And if you structure things properly, you could probably get away with 4. Now, you don't have to use Bulldozer Training for every exercise. It's completely optional. And for many of my clients, I give them the option of doing Bulldozer Training on maybe about 50% of their exercises. It's not mandatory. Just use it on exercises that you feel where it's going to provide solid value. Now, the result of Bulldozer: brutal but sustainable training, big volume in less time, built-in progression, and relentless fatigue or pressure without constant failure. All right, so the commonalities between the system, both are rest pause or cluster style of training, resting about 15 to 30 seconds in between sets. Both of them focus on effective reps or maximizing the overall rep quality for a given exercise. Both Myo-Reps and Bulldozer focus on time efficiency, so you can get in a lot of hard work in a shorter period of time. And of course, they are both brutally intense. Neither system is a brand new idea. Neither of us invented rest pause training. We just kind of developed it and refined it based on our experiences or the science we were looking at. As I mentioned before, this is kind of a convergent evolution. They were developed around the same time. They weren't copies of each other. They were just 2 different lifters developing different systems around the same time in lifting history. You could say both of them have common lineage and both of them have shared goals. Now let's dive in a little bit into some of the differences. They are a little bit nuanced. Myo-Reps has an activation set, which is your big first set, and then you do your 5 mini sets. Bulldozer Training has a fixed number of sets. So with Myo-Reps, you will stop when you can't get 3 reps on a given mini set. On Bulldozer Training, you're going to do all of the mini sets no matter what. How it feels: Myo-Reps feel like one hard burnout followed by multiple aftershock clusters. Bulldozer feels more like an extended chain of tough submaximal mini sets where fatigue builds more evenly. Now let's look at loading, rep ranges, and rest. Myo-Reps start with a light or moderate load, 30 to 50% of 1 rep max. Activation sets are anywhere from 15 to 30 reps. And then your rest periods or mini sets are 3 to 5 or 3 to 6 deep breaths. It says here 5 to 20 seconds, but it's generally similar to bulldozer training, 15 to 30 seconds. Bulldozer training is built more around heavier loads. Your first set, being that we're in the 12, 13, or 14 rep range, it's going to be about 65 to 70% of your 1 rep max as a starting point. And again, we said how it feels. Myo-Reps equal more like a high rep burn with lightning fast pacing, almost no time to breathe. Bulldozer, heavier loadings, steadier rest periods in between sets, slightly more recovery between efforts, but still far from full rest. Now, we're almost done. I don't want you guys to go anywhere. I want you to stick around to the end because I'm going to give you a video that is going to show you the Power Muscle Bulldozer System, my most effective style of training combined with bulldozer reps. Now, let's talk about failure and progression. We're pretty similar here. We just kind of frame it differently. In Myo-Reps, the activation set is pushed close to failure. Progression is more flexible and auto-regulated. You want to look at your last session. You want to continue to improve on your mini sets until you get to the point where you hit at least 3. And if you get 5 reps for each of the mini sets, then you move up in weight. Now, bulldozer training, pretty similar. Failure is never the point. We want to push each set for maximum safe quality reps. I mean, you don't want to do a bench press on bulldozer and hit failure, and then you have to get up, re-rack the weight. That just absolutely destroys the flow of bulldozer. So you're stopping sets when you feel like you're going to fail on the next rep or when form starts to break down. We want to remain safe and not beat up the body. All right, when to use each. If you were to decide when to use Myo-Reps versus bulldozer, it comes down to context because they're very similar. Myo-Reps is great if you're short on time or want to squeeze in extra hypertrophy into a busy schedule. It's also very useful for smaller muscle groups or isolation style exercises where doing endless sets is inefficient. Given its flexibility, you can sprinkle Myo-Reps into almost any program without overhauling the entire program. I mean, if you were doing a set of cable tricep extensions and you decided you want to sneak in a few Myo-Reps at the end because you have extra energy, really easy to do so. Now, bulldozer training can be treated as a full training template or a full routine. You could structure your entire workout outside of maybe squats and deadlifts based on bulldozer training. That's what I did in 2008. This is completely optional. Bulldozer training has a really sound and solid structure, and you can basically slot it into any program for any exercise you prefer. It gives you a very defined progression goal or progression target, and you really don't have to worry about the reps on the mini sets as long as you are just continuing that set and pushing that set hard. Now, this is the exciting part. I'm going to give you the bulldozer system. I'm going to show you what mini sets look like. I'm going to show you what escalating rest periods look like. All right, so this is the standard 5 mini set progression. You start with a weight you can perform about 12 to 15 reps with. You perform as many safe quality reps as you can. Then you rest about 15 to 20 seconds or upwards of 30 seconds for things like bench press. Just keep that rest fluid. Generally, when I'm not timing things with my phone or with a clock, I'll take about 8 to 10 deep breaths in between sets. Pretty simple here. When you hit 12, 13, or 14 reps on that first set, then you move up weight the next time into the gym. I don't really like to stop at 12 personally. If the first set is at about 12 and you move up in weight, you're probably going to come to the gym the next time and your first set's probably going to be around 9 or 10 reps. That's a little bit too low, in my opinion, for bulldozer training. So for this reason, I would aim for a target of 13, 14, or maybe even 15 on that first set. Now, if you're short on time or you want to condense this a little bit, you can condense it into a 4 mini set progression. Works the same way. You just lop off the final set. This is really good for those of you that want to get in some really quality work, but shave off a little bit of gym time so your workouts aren't quite as long. Now, finally, we have the escalating rest, which is super fun on big hitters like bench press, pull-ups, barbell, or pendlay rows. The deeper in you get, the longer you're going to rest. So you're going to push hard out of the gate. And then with each subsequent mini set, you're going to rest longer and longer. You're not going to feel fully recovered. But the more brutal things get, you're going to add in a little bit more rest. So you might go in set number 1, get after it, rest 30 seconds, do set number 2, rest 30 seconds. After set 3, rest 45. After set 4, rest 45. After set 5, rest 60. After set 6, rest 90. And then set 7, maximum safe reps. Absolutely wonderful, wonderful protocol. Again, I love it for the bench press. Give it a try. If you don't want to do 7 mini sets for your escalating rest, you could do 5 mini sets. So you rest 30, 30, 45, and 60 seconds. So again, stick around. I'm going to give you a Power Muscle Bulldozer workout video I want you to check out. Why should you do rest pause training? Traditional sets can be something like 3x8 or 3x10. You're getting in a total of 24 to 30 reps. Could be a little bit more for isolation exercises. Truly only the last couple of reps on any set are what we would call effective reps or higher tension reps. Many of the earlier reps in these sets are lower stimulus, kind of ramping, warm-up, feeler type of reps. With rest pause training, for example, we're going to do 5 mini sets with about 20 seconds of rest. You're going to get in the same number of reps, anywhere between 24 to 30, about the same as a straight sets protocol, but rep quality is higher. The first mini set functions very normally, where you have effective reps on the last few reps. But then as the mini sets continue to mount, it's just more and more brutal, effective quality reps. This is what basically drives that intensity and that muscle soreness you are going to experience from protocols like Myo-Reps or Bulldozer Training. So why does this matter? Same rep count in less time, a higher percentage of total reps are growth stimulating or more effective or effective reps. You're not wasting, quote unquote, too many reps. And efficiency, it saves time. It's a little bit more engaging as well. And like I mentioned, you're going to experience probably greater muscle soreness in nearly every muscle involved with bulldozer training or Myo-Reps. Now, I want to note here that rest pause training isn't just a tool for muscle building. It's a great base building tool for strength. So if you want to use it on your existence exercises, your accessory movements, and your goal is strength training, this is a wonderful way to build that muscle base for future strength. It's also really good for strength endurance. Again, for more information, if you'd like a custom workout, please check out the link down below. You can also head over to my website, superlivingtoday.com, if you want coaching, or just search Bulldozer over on my website. You'll get some really good workout ideas. Now, before you go, I want you to check out this video, Power Muscle Bulldozer, probably my most popular workout system combined with Bulldozer Training. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great day.